there is nothing wrong with Meme and Yuyi's relationship. Now, before all of you come at me, let me just explain. If the argument was if Yuyi and Meme's relationship was weird or not normal, then I would be in agreement. But a couple of things people have said, and I feel like they are viewing this very, very wrongly. First off, let's talk about the sexual part that people are thinking that played out between or is playing out between Yuyi and Meme. There has not been any scene where they were actively throwing sexual innuendos at each other. I think the idea of why people think Meme is sexual with her brother comes from how she speaks and from that one particular episode that everyone has seen. And in that particular episode, there are two parts that people thought wrongly. First, the part where Meme said you would be tired. People feel it's from having copious relationship or like sexual interactions or stuff like that, but you have to remember they have been fighting in Shibuya Arc for a long time. So yes, he would be tired. He is still just a child. Now secondly, the other part where you tells Mimi that it's inappropriate for her to be naked in bed with him. Yes, it is inappropriate for a lady and a man to be in bed, especially if one is naked. It is inappropriate normally, but it is not so much of a big deal between a brother and a sister that it will warrant so much talks about it. Now, that aside, the other part that I would like to talk about is the one that people are saying that Meme is taking advantage of her brother and only using him or manipulating him for her benefit. I would have to point out that first, she has always taken care of Yuyi in any points that they were in danger. The main part I'll bring out is when they were fighting the smallpox curse. She first used herself to learn how the smallpox curse works, and the first thing she did when she came out of the trap was to take Yuyi and hide him. Then when she thought of a plan and knew that she was going to have to sacrifice her brother, even if she had already known that okay, Yui can open simple domains, she was already aware of the fact because she is the one taking care of Yui, she's the one training Yui, she's the one that has educated Yui on everything concerning jujutsu sorcery, she's the one that has trained Yui up to where Yui is currently. So you would not say that she is not aware of Yui's abilities. She is aware of Yui's abilities, but she was still worried that Yui might die. And even though she could ask Yui to go out there and sacrifice himself for her, which she knows that Yui would be so happy to do, she still asked him if he would die for her. That is asking him if he will put all her trust in her and hope that she would save him before he dies. That is not an inclination of somebody who is trying to only use somebody, like who manipulates somebody just for their personal gains, or who doesn't care about her brother. She obviously cares very much about her brother, and people are going to bring out the fact that she made a binding vow with Yui that he cannot use his abilities without her consent. Again, I will have to point out Yu is still a child. He is not even as old as Yuji. It is better to have her sister managing his abilities than to have him teleporting up and down, which could evidently harm him or put him in some form of danger if he were to be reckless with his abilities. So obviously, it would be a very smart thing to have your older sister who is better at jujutsu sorcery, who is more experienced at jujutsu sorcery, handling your affairs or your abilities than just you, a child, having just this much ability. Like Yui has one of the largest cost energy reserves in the story, and having that person with so much energy, so much information already on jujutsu sorcery, walking around freely might bring more harm to himself than he realizes. So obviously it is wise that Meme is managing his abilities. Now, after all of this, if you were to say, okay, they have a weird relationship, I would totally agree with you, but I don't feel like their relationship is wrong in any way. they are very comfortable and very close with each other, yes, I agree. And it seems a little bit weird because not a lot of people are like that with their siblings, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. And Mimi is not grooming or using her brother.